Our girl is destitute.
What conspiracy theory do you have?
You're the Feyre.
I'm Feyre. He hates Tamlin. He's also a bit of a petty bitch.
And yet, she decides, let me just shoot my shot and see it. I'm like, girl.
Hello!
Hello, lovely Suriel squad.
Hello, Suriel squad.
Oh, we are in the bowels of Under the Mountain, and I couldn't be happier.
Oh God, I'm just so excited. I'm so happy that we're here finally.
Ugh.
This is like my favorite part of the book. I feel like we've been like leading up to it, and just to finally be here is very happy.
We've arrived. And I mean,
yeah.
Look, I obviously love a good romance. Do not get me wrong. I love a beautiful romance, set in a springtimey place. But I'm also a horror gal.
Yeah.
So I'm like, give me that adder. Give me these trials. I'm going to gobble it up.
Oh, yeah. Ariel and I have talked about this many times, but like I'm such a sucker for books that are kind of broken down in this way of like trials that you have to that the main character has to live through and survive to like get to this next thing. Like that's why like the Crowns of Nyaxia series was like so satisfying. That's why I loved Phantasma so much. I mean, hilariously enough, I'm pretty sure like one of my favorite of the Harry Potter series is Goblet of Fire, which is the whole Triwizard Tournament. Like I love trials. I love the tasks. I love like the challenges because it tends to break up novels in like a really fascinating like way.
Yeah.
So the trials that happen at the end here are just it's just like it's my shit. I fucking love it so much. So yeah, it's very fun. So yeah, Suriel Squad chapters 33 and 34. Baby girl learned about a majority of the curse.
Yeah.
And so now, Alice is we join them as Alice is like basically guiding her to Under the Mountain. And it's so funny because like I feel like a lot of my notes for this episode, for the spoiler-free episode of these two chapters, is just a lot of like, oh, the foreshadowing. Like there's a lot of these like little like moments because also just it was a quote I said in our spoiler-free portion. But like on 290, she does the whole like, stay with him, fall in love with him, all will be righted. If I had stayed, if I had admitted what I'd felt, like none of this would have happened. And I literally wrote like, it was in the stars, baby girl. Because it's like, you so don't want Feyre to have to go through all these tasks, right? But if she didn't, she wouldn't have made the bargain with Rhys. Right. She wouldn't have like helped them destroy Amarantha in this way. She wouldn't have turned Faye. She would like there's so many things like this whole ending, this painful experience under the mountain like is so important to the rest of the series that it's so funny to like look back on it now because as like a first time reader you're like, oh yes, you could have broken the curse, like bah. Right. But as like a experienced ACOTAR reader at this point, you're like, no, this was all as it was supposed to be.
Oh, as the Cauldron wanted. Well, it's so funny. My friend Katie, who shout out Katie if you're listening. I may have mentioned this before, but she finally is doing, I think, a full read of it. She said, I tried ACOTAR, got halfway through, couldn't finish it, and I was like, girl, hang on, just get through book 2. Yeah. So she's on Mist and Fury last I heard. Don't know where she is. Yeah, I got to check in. But when she'd gotten further in Thorns and Roses than she had before. And she just texts me, you mean all she had to do was say, I love you? And I'm like, just wait. Just wait. Yeah. But it's so funny. Upon a second read, I forgot how much Mama Mass reiterates time and time again the "Stay with the High Lord"
Yeah.
sentence. Like, it
Yeah.
happens a lot, and it on a second read, it feels a little bit of, like, almost like salt in the wound
Yeah.
of, like, yeah, it was there the whole time, but if you think about it kind of based on what you said, Feyre was technically right,
Yeah.
because by staying with Tamlin, she got to Under That Mountain, she made that bargain with Rhys, and that is what led her to, you know,
Yeah.
being with Rhys.
Yeah.
So, either way, it's not really wrong.
Yeah. No, it is. It is. It's like, I mean, because also this concept of like all will be righted, like a certain
Yes.
amount is being righted by her staying with Tamlin and falling in love because that gives her the drive to complete these tasks,
Yeah.
to end up breaking the curse on Tamlin, breaking the hold that Amarantha has on everybody. So
Yeah.
there is an element of things being righted um because she does stay with the High Lord. And that kind of goes back to when we did that episode. We did talk about how the Suriel could actually have been talking about two different High Lords when they said like stay with the High Lord, and then like the High Lord, there's sort of this sort of like repetition, like there is a world where there's like two different beings that the Suriel is talking about there. But
Yeah.
that is interesting though. Like I do think we focus so hard on the moment when the Suriel is like, oh, I wasn't talking about Tamlin, or like kind of
Yeah.
whatever they end up saying in the next book. Like
Yeah.
you're right. There is an element, like we focus on that of her being wrong, like so much, just because of the reveal of who Rhys is in her life. But
Yeah.
you're right. There is a portion of she wasn't completely wrong because
Yeah.
she has to go through this whole process
Yeah.
for the story to end up where it does.
Well, and I think, the second read, I know you and I have talked about this, but I don't know if I've said it on the podcast. Like, the second read of the series has really been hitting differently for me because, I mean, obviously it hits different for everyone when you know the answers, but on a personal level, this specific, stay with the High Lord double meaning kind of thing really hits me different because in my own life, I would not have there's a very good chance in a world where I never would have met my Reese,
Right.
David, if it weren't for me going through my own trials and
Yeah.
being with my own Tamlin. Like,
Yeah.
and I think that a lot of people can relate to this, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is, I mean, we read romantasy not just to escape, but because like there are parts of it that reflect our own lives, right?
Hmm.
And like I relate so hardcore to this, and I've said that since day one, right?
Hmm.
But this time it's like it's really interesting reading it from a like it dressed up in a fantasy world type of way and being like, oh yeah, this is really like kind of a universal story that maybe not everyone has gone through, but everyone knows someone who has gone through it, right?
Yeah. I do feel like we have touched on a little bit in the past of like maybe not so like, you know, that kind of XYZ that you sort of gave us. But I do think that we have
Yeah.
touched on this idea of that, you know, the necessity of particular trials and tribulations in our lives,
Yeah.
or whether that be a relationship, whether that be, you know, just a bad situation with someone, and whether that be a romantic relationship or a friendship relationship or whatever, very
Totally.
often those experiences are necessary for us to reach our mate, for
Yep.
us to reach, and that, you know, and I say mate as in it could be a relationship, or it could be a job, it could be a move that you needed to do. Like
Yeah.
a lot of trials you'll find when you look back on them, while they're wildly uncomfortable to think about it in this way, they're necessary for you to land into the sort of hopefully happy, more authentic space that you are like now in, you know? So
Yes.
yeah, I think I think that's why the second read of this series is like really powerful. Hopefully, you know, you don't have to experience that to get your shiny moment, but it is kind of this reminder of like often those darkness things, if you can turn around and get like find the important lessons from those moments and like move forward in a positive way, like they can feel kind of necessary.
Oh,
So
yeah, I mean, it is I've always been a big believer, well, it's certainly not pleasant, like, there is no light without darkness, right?
100%. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's frankly why Feyre's mate is the High Lord of the Night Court,
Hmm.
like,
Hmm.
versus the High Lord of the Spring Court, where it's,
Yeah.
like, bright and sunny all the time. So, um, yeah, it's a really good lesson, and I think I don't know, it's why I love this series.
Yeah. It's so funny when Alice gives all these rules,
I
right?
know.
It's so funny reading it with your spoiler cap on because she's like, "Don't drink the wine. Don't make deals with anyone unless your life depends on it. Don't trust a soul in there, not even your Tamlin." And I literally wrote, "She breaks every single one. Every
Every
single
single
one."
one. Like, boom, boom,
She
boom.
makes multiple bargains. The one and like she makes the bargain with Amarantha. She makes the bargain with Reese.
Yep,
Through the bargain with Reese, she ends up drinking a shit ton of fairy wine.
yep.
She trusts, I mean, it may be a long game thing that she breaks, but she trusts this like romantic moment with Tamlin when he ends up like pulling her aside and making out with
Oh,
her.
she also trusts Lucian. She trusts
Yeah.
Reese to some degree. Like, she
Yeah.
trusts multiple people
Yeah.
throughout. Like, every single one of those
Thing.
roles
The
was
house.
like the playbook of just like, "Oh, I'm gonna give you these roles. Cool. Like, just go ahead and break them. Fine."
I'm just gonna
Like,
toss them out the window. And it's funny though, because majority of the choices that Feyre makes under the mountain, I like support every single one. I mean,
absolutely.
like it makes complete sense. Of course she's gonna agree to these trials. Of
Yeah.
course she's going to trust Lucian. I mean, actually, her love and friendship of Lucian actually ends up helping her later because Lucian's mom ends up
Yep.
helping her out at a certain
Yep.
point.
Well, and their trauma bond, I think, is what allows in what is it, Mist and Fury for Lucian to trust her
Yep.
and go with her.
Yep. Also, I don't think there's a world where she survives these trials if she does not have her bargain with Reese.
No,
I mean,
absolutely not.
especially when you get into like the second trial, baby girl was not going to answer that correctly.
No.
The last
Yeah.
trial I do think is all Feyre, actually,
Yes. Yeah.
right? Because she's the one who like remembers actually what this thing that Alice actually tells her at the end of
Yeah.
this chapter. So I think while it's hilarious that she breaks all these rules and the drinking of the fairy wine, it's just like she had to survive in some kind of way to get through. That's what Reese even ends up telling her
Yeah.
in Mist and Fury of just like, I did that on purpose so you
Yeah.
didn't have to
Remember what you were
remember the
witnessing.
experience of playing
Yeah.
this game that we were playing. And so
Yeah.
it's like, so you support every single one of them, but it's just still really funny.
Well,
It's like, okay.
it's so funny. Last in the spoiler-free episode, we were talking about how Feyre is canonically a Capricorn, because she was born on the solstice, which is day one of Capricorn season. And leave it to a Capricorn to be the type of person to be like, I'm gonna learn the rules and then I'm gonna break them, right? And
Yeah.
like, I actually like, I'm a big fan of that. I mean, not every rule, but like, like, especially as a filmmaker, right? Like, every time I watch a movie where like they've broken some kind of film rule, if it's done with intention, 9 times out of 10, it's gonna be good, right?
Oh yeah.
And I think it's the same here. Is like Feyre knows. I mean, in chapter 34, she talks about as she's like making the bargain with
Yeah.
Amarantha, she's like, I know I'm breaking this rule that Alice told me not
Yeah.
to break, but I am in a life or death situation right now.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so I guess technically she is following the rule because Alice did give the caveat. So
Well, and I think because Alice gives her those rules, I also think that that's why she like kind of I wrote down that she was negotiating, but like she's not really negotiating. Like she's kind of negotiating, but she's
yeah,
mainly like really sussing out the language. She's like
yes,
really forcing Amarantha to like kind of make these statements, make a lot of these claims before they like, you know, quote unquote shake on it, basically, right?
Right.
Like, so, you know, baby girl knows that she's kind of going against the rules, but she's like still trying to be like smart in how she does it.
Yes.
Cause like I think it's
Well,
really interesting, like we're gonna jump around a lot here, guys. Because I
yeah.
think it's really interesting that when she does the kind of negotiation moment that she says, like, I want Tamlin's curse broken too, and I want the spring court, all the spring court to be able to leave. I'm a little confused because that to me sounds like she's not trying to save everybody. It sounds like she's just trying to
Oh,
save Tamlin and the spring court.
I think she is. And in all fairness, she probably knows she can't push it that much. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? She also, not for nothing, she never met anyone from any other court aside from Lucian, who's technically spring court now. Like,
Right.
she doesn't know the other courts. It's really not her bag.
Yeah.
you know, I would have loved if she did try, for
Yeah.
humanitarian sake. But also, let's not forget that in the next book, she kind of saves the day. So,
Yeah.
a human girl can only do so much.
But you bring up a good point, actually, is that it's also like it's how much could she have gotten away with? And so you bring up a good point of how like that might have been a step too far if she
She
had
was
tried to
already
be
pushing
like
it.
everyone gets to leave.
Yeah, no, she was
Yeah.
already pushing it with saying, like, I want the spring court free. I want Tamlin free. I mean, and also to devil's advocate a little bit,
Yeah. Gavel gavel.
she knows one of the High Lords down there is Reese. And she, at this point, thinks Reese and the Night Court are evil.
She thinks he's a real bad guy. Yeah.
A real bad guy.
Real bad
Uh,
guy. Yeah. But it is funny too how, we kind of shat on Alice a little bit in the last chapter.
I know,
But
we did.
it is really like she gives Feyre some of the most important information before they say goodbye with
Yeah.
this whole, quote on 292 where she's like, there's one part of the curse, one part we can't tell you. Even now my bones are crying out, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, but keep your ears open, girl. Listen to what you hear. And God bless Alice for saying this, because this is the only reason why
Mhm.
Feyre ends up stabbing Tamlin,
Because she can't hear his
because
heart.
of this quote. And it's
Yep.
just like
Yeah.
remembering of how important this one statement is for like the end of the book is so wild.
It's always so funny to me because I forget how, like, literal Fae can be sometimes because they are they're both literal and tricky at the same time. And I think it's because of their trickiness, you kind of just, like, put, like, the idea of them being literal out of your mind. You know what
Mhm.
I mean?
Mhm.
It feels very much, and I know I've used this before, of like there's always money in the banana stand from Arrested
Yeah.
Development. Like there's listen to what you are like, what is there? Like listen to what you hear. Like there's always money in the banana stand. Tamlin's heart is made out of stone.
I
Like
didn't think about how literal this statement is.
yes.
You're so right. That is so funny. It literally
Yeah.
is like just listen for a heartbeat. You're so
Yeah.
right. Like there's such a more flowery, like maybe quote unquote stereotypical Faye way to say that. And she literally
Yes.
is just like, listen.
Listen. And like, of course it would be Alice,
Yeah.
who's the one who is just that literal and blunt as much
Yeah.
as she can be, because right, she even says she can't. It hurts her to even say what she is
Yeah.
saying because of the curse. Which, okay,
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of talked about this last time. I guess it makes sense this part would be in place still because the curse isn't broken. So technically, his heart would still be stone. The masks are still on. Everyone's still trapped. So yeah, I guess it makes sense.
I guess, but then in that sense, when Feyre says, "I'm here for the one I love," shouldn't that break something?
That's
Like,
true. I mean,
like, like,
it was out of the parameters of the 7x7. I
yeah.
guess
Well,
it's more of like, in my mind, they can only not say anything during those 49 years. Once the 49 years are up, you would think she's not going to break the curse anyway because the rules were it has to be within those 49 years. So why the
Yeah.
fuck can't they talk about it?
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm getting a little caught on because yeah, the only reason for them not talking it's a safety mechanism for Amarantha to make sure no one cheats at breaking the curse, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think what we could kind of blame this all on, really,
Yeah.
is Amarantha is not
She doesn't play fair.
yeah, or what's the word when you say it's like you've been using the phrase a lot about like a narrator you can't it's
Oh,
like
unreliable narrator.
yeah, like
Yeah.
this is an unreliable curse maker. Because Alice even kind of
Yeah.
says like the fact that I can't tell you means she still doesn't want you to know, which
Right.
means there is an element of this that is still in play
Yes.
for Amarantha. And
God, that
so
woman would be so annoying to play like Monopoly with or some kind of board game. She'd just be making up rules left and right and be like, house rules. Like, that's where my mind goes to.
of course I can build on the railroad. Like, yeah, no, like she just starts like I'm just like imagining her with like Jurian's eyeball on her finger and like just like sitting there and she's like, yeah, I'm out of jail now.
Yeah.
How? Because I wanted to be.
I said so.
Okay.
Like,
What? I curse your whole family so I get all your money.
and I get boardwalk. I get boardwalk because I'm pretty.
I love doing that, like putting characters in like real world, like very mundane scenarios. Like that's just like so good. The other little foreshadowing moment that I thought was like a little painful, right? So it's like after she leaves Alice, she's in the cave, she's walking through, and she has this thing on 293 where she's like, still, I had to leave this cave. Tamlin had been here for weeks already. I had to find where Amarantha kept him and hopefully not run into anyone in the process. Killing animals and the Naga had been one thing, but killing any others, ... Oh my God, bro. When I
I didn't
read that,
even
I was just
realize that.
like, oh,
Yeah,
the
that's painful.
foreshadowing. Oh, the beginning of the end. Like that is so what she has to do in the final trial by
Ugh.
killing all of those fairies, right? Is literally something that as a reader you deal with Feyre for the rest of the series. Like
Yeah.
she is never the same after this.
And it makes me even madder that Tamlin doesn't fucking get it in Mischief of Fury.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like, bro, she saved you. She saved your ass by
Yeah.
killing these other Fae, and now she's traumatized from it. And you're like barely gonna hold her hair while she pukes. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think like I feel like the only real gavel you could do to that
yeah,
is back to this idea of that something we've discussed a lot of that these fairy men have not grown up with a lot of compassion,
compassion.
but also like the amount of fairies that he has probably had to kill to accomplish the things that he has needed to do. It
Yeah,
probably seems a little like we forget the ages of these males. But no, I
yeah,
completely agree. Like I mean, again, I don't know. I don't know if we can even fully open that door because we're gonna be here forever. But it's
I
like
know.
his lack of awareness of Feyre, like there's just so many things that you're just like, yeah, homie, you like fell in love with a very specific idea of her that wasn't really who she was like through and
No,
through.
this idea kind of reminds me a bit of going into chapter 34 a bit. So
Mhm.
for those who didn't listen to the spoiler free episode, my directing moment was on page 296, and it's the quote where she's just seen Amarantha, and then she looks over and she says, I looked at the black rock throne beside her, and my arms buckled beneath me. He was still wearing that golden mask, still wearing his warrior's clothes, that baldric, even though there were no knives sheathed along it, not a single weapon anywhere on him. His eyes didn't widen, his mouth didn't tighten. No claws, no fangs. He just stared at me, unfeeling, unmoved, unimpressed. And what I couldn't say in the spoiler-free episode, but I could say here, is I think part of the reason I was drawn to choosing that as my director moment is the foreshadowing, right?
Yeah.
And like that's not to say like obviously Tamlin cares about her, and like we see
Mhm.
that later in this chapter when like she's about to strike the bargain with Amarantha and his eyes widen in this way where he's trying to tell her like don't do it.
Yeah.
But just how unfeeling he can be, or he can
Yeah.
like appear to be.
Yeah.
And we see that in Mist and Fury when he really doesn't give a shit about
No.
her when she's puking every night. Like,
Yeah.
and at least like
Well, he
here,
doesn't
there's a
even
good
seem
reason.
to like he doesn't even seem to like notice, which is
No.
which is worse, I
Yes.
think. Because
Yes.
it's like and I think that's the like yeah, that's the painfulness of it
This,
all.
as much as we give shit for Tamlin not doing shit about fuck under the mountain, which he doesn't, this at least I can understand. Like, this is a tactic.
Yeah.
This is a tactic to protect Feyre. I can
Yeah.
forgive this moment. Some of the others, especially when he tries to fucking have sex with her at a very inappropriate moment, cannot. But then, yeah, like him not even really, like you said, noticing in Mist and Fury that she is like highly traumatized. It's like, my guy. Like, I
Yeah.
get, you've been trained as a warrior and you're a fae, but guess what, buddy? She's fae too now. Yet she
Yeah.
still has feelings. She's still able to notice when other people have feelings. So, like,
Yeah.
what's this about?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it's a lot of Tamlin wanting to see what he wants to see because even Reese is
Yeah.
like, do you not see her wasting away? Like even
Yeah.
Reese is kind of like, do you not? And there's just this like, I think Tamlin has, because of his upbringing and certain things, and I think we've probably talked about this before, but like his ability to compartmentalize is dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
It is what I think it is the huge reason why Mist and Fury happens the way that it does. It's just
Yeah.
his ability to blind himself to certain things is just like, "Ugh." But yeah, a lot of his inaction in chapter 34 to me, again, we said in the spoiler free, but like kind of screaming at Feyre of just like, girl, he's doing it to protect you. This lady is insane.
Yeah.
Like, we've finally reached the Jurian's ring where we've gotten to this portion. And
Yeah.
within this chapter, we even learn, and yes, I have my Jurian ring, that Ariel actually realized in the spoiler free portion. I have
Yeah.
hands as well, which is a ring from her, by the
Yeah.
way. So
Got mine here.
I am Amarantha with my bones and my eyeball.
I
Dear
love it.
God. For all of our podcast listeners, or for just the listeners, I think we said, but I have like basically a brass ring that is an eyeball. It's
Yes,
very cool. I love it.
it is.
And Ariel got us these rings a while ago that are like kind of two little creepy hands like grabbing towards each other, and we have matching ones, and I wear them on the same finger, and so it's pretty good, Ariel. It's pretty good.
I feel now if we ever do one of those like Fey balls that we go to, you have to be
No.
Amarantha.
Oh, well, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I already have some of the accessories, we won't have to spend too much money there. But yeah, so
There
we
you
get,
go.
the Jurian thing happens. I like always kind of forget how long this means Jurian has been just an eyeball in a
Yeah.
ring. We're talking
Yeah.
like 500 years at this
And
point.
and he's a human, so
He's a
he's not
human.
used to like time, like 100 years being nothing to
Yeah.
a Fae. Like he is a human.
So it's like, of course, when this guy comes back to life, he's
Be a little
fucking
weird.
crazy. Of
Yeah.
course. Like,
Yeah. To be honest, oof, this might be a hot take. At least from what I remember of Jurian, especially bearing in mind he's been a ring for 500 years, an eyeball ring. He actually doesn't act that crazy. He's being a double agent is what it is. And so I think it's just more he appears crazy until we find out what his long game is.
yes. Yes.
Which, like,
I
my
actually
God.
think that Jurian could have been a much more intense villain, because I don't even really
Yeah.
view Jurian as a villain, to be perfectly
No.
honest. Like,
Same.
I view him as a villain for what he does to Amarantha's sister, but
Yeah.
Amarantha's sister is also evil.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay. But also like Jurian, because Jurian ends up kind of like coming onto our side, basically.
Oh, well, I correct me if I'm wrong, but I
Because
think
he's
we
in the
find
little
out
trio with like, isn't it? It's like Lucian, Jurian, and our little Phoenix Queen
yes,
are like a
Vasa.
little, yeah, they're like
Yeah.
this like little friendship misfit toys like
Yeah.
trio that happens, right?
I'm pretty sure he's in that, and I think we even find out all the shit he does with Hybern in Mist and Fury, he was actually being a double agent. I could be wrong,
For
but
yeah,
for our side, like, he was,
yes.
like, sussing shit out with like, he was kind of doing what Tamlin did if Tamlin was actually, like,
Yeah.
helping our side, you
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So I guess not all what Tamlin did. But yeah, I think we do find out he was a double agent, and that's why it's not even he comes to our side in Akawar, he was always on our side. We just didn't know it yet. I think.
Yeah.
We'll find out in the reread.
That feels I
But
mean, that feels right. But so
yeah.
I just but of course, Tamlin is not going to proclaim his love and worry for Feyre in front of this crazy lady who
No.
is holding the consciousness of a human on her finger for 500 years
Yeah.
and who describes the screaming of a young woman as lovely music. Like, because obviously this woman enjoys, sorry,
Yeah.
this female enjoys torture, which means if she knows that he cares about her, she's going to double down, which is what she does.
Right.
That's why the trials become a thing. But it's just like,
Yes.
of course, he's not going to give you any reaction, baby
Yeah.
girl. Come on.
And we should, I hate saying this, we should bear that in mind as we continue through the trials and Tamlin
Yeah.
doesn't do anything. He could have tried to be a little more like Reese and be clever, right? I think that's really
Yeah,
what it comes down to.
that's what it comes down to. But then even saying that, it's like, well, it was easier for Reese. He could go visit her. Imagine
Yes.
the optics of Tamlin visiting her. That's not gonna
Right.
happen. Like Reese visiting her
Yeah.
could be disguised as some kind of torture tactic or whatever.
Right.
But how Tamlin would have visited her without Amarantha coming, or
Right.
how he would have been able to accomplish that without anyone knowing was probably next to impossible. So
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
is a lot, like I too am someone who shits on Tamlin for not really doing anything, but
Yeah.
I always have a gavel gavel devil's advocate moment in my head after that of like, what could he have done? And I think it's what you're saying. I think there's a level of cleverness that could have been done. I think
Yeah.
there's a something, but it also goes back to what we've said about Tamlin, the lack of foresight. He also is just he's not as clever as Reese. Like, we know that. We've
No.
seen we learn it throughout the series of the books. Like, there's a lot of things that like Tamlin is just not at that level. And so
Right.
I don't know what Tamlin would have been able to do, because he feels like, I mean, this is a guy who, from what we think, after all of the High Lord's powers get taken, tells her to basically go fuck herself and no, I would rather be with a human. Like, what an
Right.
idiot, right? So it's
Right.
just like, this is not a forward thinking male. So I don't really know what he would have done. I still am annoyed with him that he doesn't do a single fucking thing, but
And
yeah.
I think it's the only thing I could think he could have done, and maybe he did do it, and maybe we'll find out in a future book, is yeah, I agree. He couldn't have gone and seen Favorite. That's definitely a no-go. But he was at that point the consort to Amarantha. And so he could have maybe like try to convince her a little bit harder that he doesn't care about Feyre or something. I don't know. And again, maybe he did, and we're gonna find that out. Um, But yeah, I think it really does come down to, and I think this is kind of why I'm still annoyed with him, is like Tamlin is such a doer when it
Mm.
comes to like we see it so many times earlier in the book, like when shit's going down on the border or with the blue fairy or whatever, he like just does. He is reactionary, right? And like the one time where you kind of want him to be reactionary, whether or not it would have ended up well, you just want him to show like, hey, he fucking cares. He doesn't. And I think that's what's frustrating about it.
Well, but he's reactionary when it's an easy
Scenario that he can fix.
yeah, like,
Yeah,
okay, if a
true.
border is being pushed, you're gonna go and
Yeah.
fight those people.
Yeah.
Simple, plan,
Yeah.
right? He's there's when it comes to, like, finessing something, right? I don't feel because also he's kind of a doer, but when it came to trying to break this curse, he
He
tried and
didn't.
then and he stopped. And then he
Yeah.
just sort of
Yeah.
wallowed around for a while. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, and yes, Alice does say that he was constantly trying to find like loopholes and like all this kinds of thing. And we've already said multiple times that of course he stopped. It makes complete sense. He's not going to keep sending his friends over. Like, yes.
Right.
But it's just when there seem to be more intricate situations that need to happen, it doesn't feel like Tamlin can really maneuver that very well because
Yeah.
yeah, protecting a border, that's warrior mentality. That's like, yep, I'm going to go fight it. But like in this scenario, because even when he finally finds a way to have a moment alone with her, all he wants to do is have like a physical like experience with her. Like that could have
Yeah.
been an opportunity to be like, are you okay? Are you blah blah blah? Like
Smuggle some information.
he doesn't do any exactly. Try to give her something. And he doesn't do any of that. And
Yeah.
it's just so like I think Tamlin is a doer when it comes to like battle scenarios. He's a great warrior. But I think
Yeah.
when it comes to like the intricacies of like politics or that kind of shit, that's not his strong suit like at all.
Well, I'm going to gavel you a little bit on that.
Okay.
This is war if you think about it. And
Yeah, but it's a war of like of courtiers. It's a war
yes.
of fancy words and tricky statements, which is Reese.
Yes. Yes.
It's not brute force war right now.
No, no, you're right. And I think I just sometimes wish it might just be a mind shifting,
Yeah.
right? A
Yeah.
mentality shifting of like if he just looked at it as war and looked at it as battle plans versus, oh, this is just politics, he
Yeah.
could have maybe come up with
Something.
something. Just something, right?
Something.
Well, especially because it's like she's going in there almost completely blind,
Yeah.
right? And like she's a human.
Yeah.
Like, and she still has the guts to say, I came here to claim the one I love. I
Yeah.
came here to claim Tamlin, High Lord of the Spring Court. Like, I don't know. It's just like she shows so much blind faith,
Yeah.
you know? And he
Well,
can't.
well, and I actually wonder how much anger Tamlin had at Feyre when he saw her walk in.
You gotta wonder.
He was probably really fucking pissed off, I bet.
Yeah.
For knowing kind of who Tamlin is and the level of anger he gets when he is not in control and when people do things against what he has asked. Like
Yep.
I'm sure there was a level of like severe anger at Feyre because he probably
Oh,
mentally
yeah.
was like still kind of working through what he wants to do, how to figure out how to get out of this. In his mind, right? This is kind of the thing we're reminded about in this chapter is that Tamlin basically sits silently while Claire is tortured, pretty much.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I still stand by I don't fault him for that.
Same.
Yeah, I really don't. But at this point in his head, he's like, okay, I've already watched them think that they got rid of that. And I guess at this point he's been down there for like weeks.
Yeah.
And so
About a month, I think.
yeah, so it's like I just wonder like what was he maybe already scheming? Was he maybe already prepping something? Was he
Yeah.
doing the fairy thing where he's playing the long game, you know?
Right. Right.
And so there's a potential here of him being furious when he sees Feyre come in and just be like, fuck, like this makes everything so much more complicated and so much
Yeah.
harder. Which is annoying. Like that's annoying for Feyre, you know? But
Oh,
it's just
yeah.
like I now I really want a Tamlin POV book
I
really
know,
badly.
right? To be honest, I don't think he really came up with any plans. I think he just kind of resigned to
Yeah,
what was,
that
because
is what it
we
feels
saw
like.
that when we saw that with the curse, right? When it was happening, like he stops for several decades. He just
Yeah,
gives up. And I feel like and that was when there was a way out. When
yeah,
he himself could have done something. So
yeah,
I feel he probably just resigned. I do agree with you that he was probably furious with
yeah,
Feyre, which, really it comes back to this question I constantly have with him is like, did he truly love Feyre, or did he just love the idea of Feyre, right? Because Feyre, this is one of those moments in the series where Feyre really shows who she is at
yeah,
her core.
yeah,
Doesn't matter if the odds are stacked up against her, she is a fighter,
yeah.
and she's specifically a fighter for the people she loves. She's not fighting for herself. Like,
No.
if she wanted to protect herself, she would have never come back to Prythian.
Yeah,
She's fighting for Tamlin and Lucian in the Spring Court. And if that were Rhys sitting there, he could still be upset, but he also would be like, this is why I love this woman.
he wouldn't
Like,
be surprised.
he wouldn't be
'Cause
surprised.
he would
Whereas
he would be like, "Yeah, that's I should have
I
known
should have
that this
known.
I should have known that this was gonna happen." Yeah,
Yes. But, we don't know. Maybe we'll never know. But I think you're right. I think Tamlin probably was just pissed off
yeah,
and upset that she was there. And it's
yeah.
like, let me tell you, I don't think Tamlin is the type of guy who can hold two truths at the same time.
No, I really don't. I really don't,
Yeah.
because it's what we talked about, it's compartmentalization. If you are
Yes.
compartmentalizing a lot of things, and yeah, there's no way you can be holding 2 truths because it's, like, impossible for you because 'cause you've
No.
put them into these different boxes. So, yeah, this is actually, like, a different I haven't thought about this moment in Tamlin's point of view till, like, just now, and it's just,
Same.
like, I bet he was furious.
Oh,
And I think you bring up a brilliant point of that this is Feyre being the truest Feyre right now. Like,
yeah.
she's kind of been in this sort of happy la la land a little bit, right? Which there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that, Feyre, but this taking action and willingness to be the underdog in a
Mhm.
situation is very Feyre.
Yeah.
And you're right, it's so telling that we think he would be mad at her in this moment. And it's exactly what you just said of like, this is that right there is the crux of the issue of that he was very much in love with the little woman that at the spring court that was painting and walking through the fields with him every day.
It's so funny because in the spoiler-free episode, when Corinne was doing her sound moment, which was at the end of chapter 33 with Feyre going through the tunnels and whatnot, I brought up how it reminds me so much of the concept of a labyrinth, and how labyrinths represent an inward journey, an inward spiral of like going deeper and deeper into yourself. And I really feel, whether or not SJM meant this, and she probably did, let's be honest, she loves her Greek mythology. Um, I think that this is a version of that for Feyre. If you think
Mhm.
about it, it's kind of almost like a little bit like the Ouroboros, but she's seeing more the good parts of herself than the bad, with
Mhm.
the Ouroboros. Because ultimately, once she gets through this labyrinth of, the caves, she's brought to this throne room where she is her truest self. We see the
Yeah.
truest form of Feyre, not just in this scene, but I feel throughout the trials, right?
Yeah.
Like, it really is in the face of adversity that people typically show their truest self. And I think we see the truest version of Tamlin as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Because yeah, he's just sitting there, not really doing anything. I'm sure he's horrified,
Yeah.
obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Um, but it's a reflection of who he was for, I'm gonna say, at least 30 to 35, or sorry, 35 to 40 of those 49 years,
Yeah.
right? Like, just kind of wallowing, not doing anything. And
Mhm.
then the second he is able to, like, do something, what does he do? He tries to fuck her.
Yeah.
Like, and it just kind of, for me, it makes all that Feyre goes through heartbreaking, even though I think it ultimately, like we talked about earlier, it leads to her finding what is meant for her, which is Reese
Yeah.
and the inner circle and Valaris and all those beautiful things. But like and I mean, this is like truly, I feel, what a lot of people go through with their first loves is she just gives her whole self, right? Like she puts her whole self into these tasks. She bargains with Amarantha. And I'm not talking about just accepting the bargain. She literally, like you talked about, she negotiates
Yeah.
with Amarantha so that Tamlin isn't the only one saved. It's the entire spring court.
Yeah.
That that takes guts for a
Yeah.
human who is witnessing everything she is witnessing in a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
Poor Claire Better is hanging crucified behind her, and she still has the audacity to say, "I want his curse broken too. I complete all three of your tasks, and his curse is broken, and we and all of his court can leave here and remain free forever."
Yeah.
Like, like you
Yeah.
said earlier, the chutzpah.
The
Like,
chutzpah. It's insane.
it's yeah,
It's
and
insane.
he can't even
I know.
really try.
Well, it's funny. You bring up this labyrinth thing, and it's kind of, I'm now almost wondering if it's more the tasks are the labyrinth of her slowly, right?
Yeah,
Because I mean, I agree with you of this sort of like coming to her truest
yeah,
form in the throne room, but also this idea of it's like each task that she has to do, you know, the first one with the monster, that is the cleverness of Feyre. That is
well, and
her,
she's literally in a labyrinth during that, if you think about
yes,
that.
yeah. Well, and the intelligence of using the bones around you as weapons and as ladders
Yes,
and like all these things, covering herself in the muck so that way this
yep,
creature can't find her. Like that's all of her hunting skills. That's all of that like coming into play. And then she succeeds in the second task because she decides to make a bargain with this guy
yeah,
to just give herself another day of survival, basically.
yeah,
This is the element of Feyre's survival mode, like really going into play, and how she was just like, okay, if I can get through one thing, and then she really negotiates during that bargain with her and Reese as well. And then the
hmm
final like there's and then the final task, yes, she has to like kill all these creatures, but the way she does it actually ends up winning her allegiance from other courts because they're so touched by how she does that that later in the series they like courts are more willing to listen to her and follow her because of how she behaved under the mountain,
yes,
and then she turns into a fae. It's like all of those things bring her to her truest form at the end, and of
yep.
course that true form does not mesh with Tamlin.
Of course. Well, so I 1,000% agree with you that the whole trials are her labyrinth. Like, I think that's so smart. I think, the cave at the beginning was like the very beginning of that labyrinth.
Yeah. It's a bit of a stretch, but I feel like it kind of works.
I don't think
Okay.
that's a stretch at all. I think it totally it works because for those who didn't listen to the spoiler free episode, we brought it up. I just finished the book Circe, which is about Greek mythology, and it talks about the creation of the Minotaur, who the labyrinth is created for the Minotaur, right? To kind of keep it contained. But typically when people go through a labyrinth, and I'm talking like in the mythological sense, like the whole idea is the Minotaur is hunting that person down. And like they're kind of facing these like metaphors for demons, right? And I'm sure as we go along through the rest of the book, we'll dive deeper into this. But I think each one of these tasks are like a labyrinth in the sense that they hit upon a specific aspect of Feyre's life that she's needed to face. So
That is a better it's a better way to phrase that.
yeah.
That's very yep.
So the Mitten Guard, I'm gonna call it a monster because I have a physical reaction to what it's actually called. I hate those bugs. But the Mitten Guard
That's
monster.
why I said monster earlier.
I thank you so much. I noticed. I was like, oh my
It's
god,
gonna
thank
be a
you.
really rough chapter, Suriel
It's
Squad.
gonna
She's gonna have a rough time.
Oh, I'm bracing myself as it is. But the Mitten Guard monster is her having to face the physical survival she's had to endure for most of her life, right? That is still like something that hangs over her.
Ooh, also having to face being the prey.
And being the prey. Ooh,
Ooh.
good. Yes.
Oh, hey.
The second task, and I'm gonna want to go off on this, but I'm gonna try not to.
Yeah, we're gonna save this.
Yes, but the second task, I think it goes deeper than her just like facing her illiteracy. I think it's actually about her asking for help, because that is what that bargain with Reese is. And we'll save it for that chapter. I've been seeing a lot of TikTok. I've gone on the wrong side of TikTok somehow, where there's a lot of Reese haters out there who still to this day think that he is playing her and is like mind controlling. Like, don't even get me started. It's
Still?
so, yes, yes.
Wow.
And they think it's because of the bargain that they struck in this book. I do not believe that at all. I think there's so much evidence to prove that that is not what's going on.
Okay. I can't even.
And I know, but just from a storytelling perspective, first off, it doesn't make sense. But
It
second
makes
off,
no sense. Okay.
makes no sense. But second, I think that the bargain with Reese is about her asking for help. Feyre is not someone who can easily ask for help. She never does it while she's with her family. She just kind of goes, well, no one's going to do anything. I'm going to go out and do it myself. She doesn't really ask her family for help.
Do you mean more like accepting help? Because Reese
True,
offers
yes.
it.
Yes,
Yeah.
accepting help. Yes, correct. More accepting help. She's not a gal who really is able to receive help easily.
Yeah.
And her arm is kind of literally twisted. She breaks her arm.
Yeah.
Reese says, I can fix that for you if you strike this bargain with me.
Yeah.
And the bargain ends up helping her. It helps her survive, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's what that trial is kind of about, because Reese is ultimately, isn't he the one who kind of is like, he figures out which lever for her to pull?
He gives her the answer. That's how that's how they survive that trial. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So accepting help. And then the third trial, I think that's about Feyre having blind faith, because she also doesn't have faith. Remember, the humans are godless.
Yeah.
They don't have a religion. They don't have any
Heathens.
real form of they're godless heathens. And she has to rely solely on the faith that of what Alice tells her in this chapter of listen to what you're hearing and trusting her gut.
Yeah.
And also understanding that sometimes having blind faith involves getting your hands dirty, which she does. She kills those two other fae.
Yes.
So again, we're going to see as we read those chapters if this all works. But I really think that, I think you're right. I think all the trials are a labyrinth for Feyre to get through and like really confront these parts of her that aren't easy to look at in a very different way that she does with the Ouroboros. Like that's more of a like, okay, I'm going to show you what you really don't want to see. But these are the things she actually can address and like face head on.
Yes. I mean, I don't really have a ton more to say about these chapters, mainly just besides just the reminder of how fucking god awful Amarantha is. Like, she is just at a level.
Horrible.
Yeah, when she's like, you came to claim Tamlin. Well, as it happens, I'm bored to tears of his sullen silence. I was worried when he didn't flinch while I played with darling Claire, when he didn't even show those lovely claws.
Just so evil.
She does, no, but she does a lot of these little like microaggression statements throughout this whole chapter that are like her little ways of like trying to poke holes in the love of Feyre and Tamlin. But this little with the claws just feels so icky because it's like my friends, when you have a huge crush on someone or you're in love with somebody and that human from their past comes back, who's kind of like the evil ex or something like that. And then they make that little statement that shows how well they know that person.
Yeah.
It's like you've been punched in the heart. Like it just you're like disgusted because this means you have both shared this person in a particular way, and you're just like there's so many things before this in this chapter that she's poking these little holes. But when she says the clause statement, I was like, ugh.
It's
Ugh.
giving that part in Mean Girls when Regina tells Katie about Aaron Sanders or whatever his name is, like, "Don't you love it when his hair is pushed up?"
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it
yeah.
feels like very Mean Girls, which actually reminds okay, this might be a bit controversial of a take, but I'm gonna say it
Okay.
anyway. Amarantha is a little bit of a gay icon.
No,
And not
there is yeah. No, I'm with you. Go.
And not even necessarily that she is gay, although I could see her as a closeted, like, high femme lesbian, and I would love that for her. But in, like, the Regina George sense of, like, how Renee Rapp played Regina
Yeah,
George in
yeah,
the
yeah,
movie
yeah.
as a lesbian.
Yeah.
But, like, more so I'm thinking of, like, in the Disney villain sense or even, like, the
Yes.
slasher movie sense where,
Yes.
like, these villains are oftentimes, like, beloved by the queer community
Yes.
because, 1, they're fucking fabulous as shit, and, like, if
Yes.
nothing, Amarantha is fabulous. Like, she is
Yes.
a gorgeous, like, beautiful redheaded woman with
Yeah.
crazy accessories, including a
Yes.
fucking eye ring and a bone necklace. Like, if that's not gay, I don't know what the fuck is. She's definitely a Halloween bitch,
Oh,
okay? Which is
yeah,
our holiday.
yeah.
But also, I like, there's for those who are not part of the alphabet mafia, like Corinne and I, there are the queer community has this tendency to kind of like find the misfit villains, whether it's like Ursula from The Little Mermaid or Freddy Krueger, right? And
Right.
like claim them as ours, the Babadook, my
Yeah.
favorite,
Yeah.
because there's something about them that we relate to in this way of like they were ostracized
Yeah.
from their communities, right? I mean, with no matter how evil she is, you can't say that Amarantha wasn't ostracized. She absolutely was. Now, for good reasons, yeah, she liked slavery. That's a bad thing, right? We don't
And
want that.
tortured and killed a
And
lot of
torture,
people.
bad, 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 bad things. But Ursula stole the Little Mermaid's voice, like, and has those souls in her cave. Like,
There we
she's
go.
also pretty bad.
I was gonna say, I
Like,
think the soul stealing is probably a bigger deal than the
yes,
voice, but
yes,
yeah.
yes, very much so. So it's not to say like we like those parts of them. It's more of like we can identify with the ostracization. Is that how you say it? And
Sure.
love their aesthetics.
Yeah.
And I feel like in that sense, Amarantha works for the queer community.
I completely agree. I mean, I think it's also a bit of the queer community trying to kind of take some of that shit back because,
Yeah,
there were some discussions with how problematic it was that a lot of these villains do feel very queer coded. Like
absolutely.
who comes to my mind immediately is have you ever seen The Great Mouse Detective?
Oh yeah.
It's like a Sherlock Holmes, yeah. Ratigan, the
Remind me, it's been a
evil
while.
villain rat guy,
Yeah.
he is
Yeah.
so gay. He's
Yeah.
so gay.
Yes.
Scar is so
So
gay.
gay.
And so but Ratigan, even just the way he talks and like does things, like it's very stereotypical flamboyant gay man. And I think for a while there was a discussion of how problematic this is, of that you're kind
Yeah.
of training children to see people who behave in this particular way as villains. And
Yeah.
I feel the queer community kind of tried to take that and sort of flip it on its head a little bit, of kind of like,
Yes.
like we're gonna love these characters because they're just fabulous, and
Yes.
also with the realization that at the end of the day, these are cartoon characters that we're talking about. These are not
Right.
real people.
No.
So I think it's a little bit of, and I think a lot of marginalized communities have done that, where
Yeah.
they've taken things that were used to be used to kind of throw them down, and they've kind of taken them to be like, no, this is ours now.
Yeah.
But so I completely agree. I think Amarantha is absolutely I could easily see her being like a queer icon because of how extra she is and how far she goes. Like,
Yes.
again, the Jurian ring is just so, that alone feels very queer coded. Like, it feels so extra. The bone on the necklace, and
Yeah.
like, and just the laughter at Tamlin and the laughter at all of these little, like, yeah, it feels very, yes, I
Look,
agree.
I feel like this all could be solved if you just gave that bitch a stage, some drag, and
Yeah.
maybe like a hot masked lesbian who's gonna just like be her arm candy.
Oh my
Like
god.
none of this would be happening.
This could all be solved, you
Like
know?
now in my head canon is now like Amarantha's a high femme lesbian. Like I will not be able to
Do
not
we
think of that
just
anymore.
need to find the mercenary and bring her under the mountain
Corinne,
and just, did I just start a fanfic? I
I
think
would
I
say
might have just started
someone
a fanfic. Someone write this,
someone
please.
write this. Get on that, what is it, AO3 or where the fuck that fanfic
I
site
don't
is.
know.
Go fucking write this if it's not already written. Like, please. That would
'Cause
truly solve.
well, I think that's what's so funny, because didn't we even say, we said that in one of our fuck, marry, kills, of like, we kind of feel like all Amarantha really needs is just like a hug and like someone just to like
Yeah.
love her, and then like maybe baby girl will calm the fuck down. I don't know.
Yes.
But like, it's
Yes.
just, she is so fucking evil and extra. And honestly, maybe she just needs, some sweet, sweet loving from like a burly lady.
She needs an outlet for that extraness that is
Yeah.
not torturing people. Like, if we did, like, give her, I swear to God, like, give her the song Judas by Lady Gaga. She could do a
Honestly,
great drag number where she's
set her
pretending to
off.
torture, like, very Madonna-esque
Yes,
kind of
I
set.
see it. I'm seeing the whole
Like,
thing in my mind.
the
Yes.
vision is there.
The vision
And
is there.
and look, I've said it before, I'll say it again. We need some kind of like real life ACOTAR burlesque show, drag show. Could
Oh,
you imagine ACOTAR drag? Ugh.
so intensely we need that very badly. And I want drag kings playing the men.
Yes.
Yeah. I know. This is like very magical. Yes. Yeah, because
I think
honestly, maybe this is why she's still grumpy, even though Reese is giving her some sweet, sweet loving. Maybe it's
yes.
because that's not how she wants to be sweet, sweet loved. You know what I'm saying?
It turns out maybe she's really not into dick. She just has, society has convinced her that like everything is for a man's,
Yeah.
appeal. And in reality she's like, I actually don't like that, but she doesn't know it yet cuz she
In
hasn't
reality,
tried.
she just needs to cut her nails short. You know what I'm saying?
I feel it. Look, I feel that bitch could still get away with long nails. Someone will. They're Fae. They heal quickly.
Okay, well, I think this shows that we don't really have much more to talk
No.
about besides just, closing off. In case you've forgotten, the chapter ends with her getting the shit beat out of her. So that's fun. But yeah, I'm excited to do these tasks.
We're here.
We're here.
I'm so ready.
We're so close, and it's like, yeah, Ariel and I were kind of talking about how like we feel like the length of these spoiler episodes are going to get really weird. They're either going to be really short or like super long, because kind of like this
There's not
one,
much to spoil.
there's not much that is spoil. It's just kind of like there's just so much foreshadowing of what Feyre is going to have to go through. So, woof.
Well, on that note, next week it's gonna be a little short. We're just doing chapter 35 because we have quite a bit to talk about. Lucian's gonna come into that cell and heal her. We're gonna get the infamous riddle, which it'll be interesting seeing how we talk about that in each episode, the spoiler and spoiler free. Because we spoiler for next week, Corinne and I both guessed the riddle pretty early on, the answer to it. So we'll talk about that. But in the meantime, if you will, please subscribe, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. It really, really helps us get out there to other people. You can also follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Blue Sky at Cauldron Save Us Pod. And you can email us at cauldronsaveus@gmail.com.
Woo!
Now I'm just all night, I'm going to be thinking about like,
I know.
Amarantha as just like a power lesbian. I just want an entire series of it now.
I know.
Her gay awakening, realizing, hey, maybe I don't have to be evil. Maybe love is the answer. Like it's the answer to my riddle.
Yeah, yeah. Like maybe that's just what she's needed all along.
The riddle the entire time was just her sexuality.
Okay.
And the friends we made along the way.
Oh my god. All right, we can't top that. We got to end right now. Okay, so as always, you're welcome.
And I am so sorry.